The old man is back with a new hip and all, which means Sports Talk with Dad is back as well. Jordan Love, Hall of Fame. I've been saying it for a long time, and it is now officially Super Bowl or bust. Jim Harbaugh helped Michigan by cheating to win a national championship. The question becomes, where does he go next? This and more coming up on Sports Talk with Dad right now. Welcome back to another amazing episode of Sports Talk with Dad. As always, my name is Kyle, and I could not call this Sports Talk with Dad without the man sitting next to me, a man so old he needed his entire hip replaced. My dad, Tim.
I did not get my entire hip replaced. It was resurfaced.
Potato. You're old. Your hip was bad. You had to get something done.
It was apparently worse than I thought.
Yeah, so to quote the doctor, normally when I go in for these surgeries, I think my patients can wait a little bit. For you specifically, we probably should have done this last year.
Apparently there were a few bone spurs in there. But
it was pretty bad, but the doctor did say the drunk driver did damage, but I fixed the damage. So hopefully that means we can get you back out on a golf course soon.
I hope
That's the goal for this summer.
That is the goal.
They did say you had a bone spur that literally was preventing you from turning.
It explains a lot.
Yep. They said it was catching on the ball and literally stopping you from moving your hip. So thank you. Just to quote you, thank you, drunk driver. But it's good to see you're back.
I'm back.
You're
I'm
not
back.
walking super well.
Not yet. It's a process.
You are sitting like you are in pain.
I'm sitting gingerly. I had the right one done in 14. I don't remember the first couple weeks, and this is probably why.
It's pretty bad, and you're 10 years older than the last one. It's going to be harder to recover. You're moving along really, really well. We did have to cancel last week. You thought you could record it. I called it. I was like, no, we're not.
Yeah,
we're not doing
this.
That
was wise.
You weren't making it down the stairs, but you were making it down the stairs today. So we are back, and you are better than ever. And I am excited, but I do have to talk to you about something very specific. I have been saying something all year round, all year, and it is time for me to show my pride.
Where the heck did you get that?
All you need is love. Love is all you need. Oh, I am so excited right now. Jordan Love is the quarterback I hoped and dreamed he would be. The quarterback I have been saying he would be his entire year.
Would you cool your
since
jet?
Last year, since Philadelphia. You cannot deny it. For those of you that can't see the t-shirt, it does say, all you need is love. Do you want me to sing it again?
No.
All you need is love. Da, 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 da. Trumpets make it
screwed
so
up the
much
trumpet.
better. Whatever. I'm not
Look,
trumpet.
Jordan Love played in from Thanksgiving on, played outstanding.
Yep.
He had a horrible October.
So what? What?
Let's just slow our roll on Hall of Fame for a while.
No.
Give him a chance.
Can I play again? All you need is love.
Okay, that's enough.
All you need is love.
I'm just saying. Let's see what he does in his first playoff game.
All you need is love. Ba-ba-da-ba.
You're doing this to me.
All you need is love. Ba-ba-da-ba. All you need is love. Love is all you need.
He's got to
That's
go.
after Paul McCartney died.
He's going to Dallas.
He is going to Dallas. He is facing Mike McCarthy in what is going to be an epic game.
Here's going to be my question. Take Love out of this.
Okay.
Because I think he'll score some points.
Yes. You can never take love out of anything.
My question is going to be,
Love is all
what
you need.
defense is going to show up for the Packers? If they play zone, McCarthy's going to win by 20 points.
Well, yeah. I mean, this relies on Joe Barry. If you look at last week, and this is where Jordan Love looked like a mixture of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. You can't roll your eyes anymore. You agreed with me on Sunday. You can't roll your eyes just because I have you on camera now.
He made some great throws.
Great throws. He made Hall of Fame throws.
One season Give him a chance to grow before we anoint
have.
him.
I've given him the chance to grow. He has been anointed as the future of the Green Bay Packers. Good or bad, he's going to get a massive extension this offseason in the tune of $55 million a year. That is about to happen. He's going to become one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. Bottom line, end of story. And he has earned every penny.
He's had a great first year.
I do, because in 4 years, $55 million a year is going to look cheap. You're going to have to renegotiate that contract. He has looked the part. And what I love about him is anytime a timeout is called, he's now either looking back at Matt LaFleur saying, what the hell are you doing? I had this. Or he's looking at his players saying, this is on you. Like, what are you doing not getting in position?
The one thing I still say, and I said this earlier this year about Jordan, he is the quietest quarterback at the line I've ever heard, and I think it cost him in the game last week because the receivers didn't hear him call the audible.
His cadences need to get a little bit louder, especially as Lambeau starts to get loud and excited, especially going into Dallas.
Yes.
It is going to be
very loud.
A lot of fans there. There will be a lot of Packer fans there just because it is such a big stadium. But make no mistake, there's going to be a lot of Dallas fans there cheering while the Packers are on offense.
Look, Jordan Love has had as good a first year as anybody could have hoped for.
Yeah.
9 wins in the playoffs.
Yep.
They're playing on house. They're on house money right now.
Yeah, Super Bowl champions.
They are not. If they get past Dallas, McCarthy's in trouble.
Probably.
And I'll be in shock.
I will be too, but I'm still excited. All I know is that if you are a Green Bay Packer fan, all you need is love. That's all you need. Jordan Love, he was throwing the flick of the wrist that he has, not getting rattled under pressure, just stone-faced, just ready to go, running up to that line, controlling that offense, and the throws he was making. I have not seen those throws since 2 years ago when we had MVP form Aaron Rodgers. Jordan Love, for how he has played this last month especially, should be getting MVP votes.
He also is the kind of guy you want to be the face of your franchise. He is a good guy. He is humble.
Yeah.
He's supremely competent.
Yeah.
But he's the kind of guy you root for.
He's everything.
Okay, don't get carried away.
Found their third Hall of Fame quarterback in a row. This is a Vikings, Bears, and Lions nightmare come true.
We'll see in about 4 years.
You know what this proves? It proves that Papa Bear Hallis sold his soul to get that Super Bowl in 85, and since 92, this has been the penance for the Bears winning a Super Bowl. They're like, yeah, we'll give you one. Here's the Packers for you. This is what you get the next 30 years. Plus, now we're going, it's going to be 45 years. And then he's also going to be traded to the Jets.
That's how it has to end.
That's how it has to end. And then we'll have our next guy, and we'll have number 4. But what I'm really enjoying right now is the fact that I don't have to look at my kids and say, I remember the old days when we had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. No, I get to say this is Packer football.
How does he handle his sophomore slump period?
This wasn't sophomore slump.
No.
He handled it.
No. We'll see.
We'll see, because next year will be a sophomore slump.
Yep.
He'll have a big old contract attached to him now.
Right.
But he has played with worse receivers than either Favre or Rodgers did.
Oh, by a lot.
Favre had Sterling Sharp that he came in with.
Was Greg Jennings on that team too?
Favre?
At the very end of Favre?
I don't think Greg Jennings was born when Favre was
not
starting
Jennings,
quarterback.
Not Jennings.
He was there for Rodgers.
Thank you.
But you look at Favre, he had Robert Brooks, who had just come into the league. Antonio Freeman was there on that team more development. But in reality, he had Sterling Sharp his first couple of years. He was a Hall of Fame wide receiver.
Should be.
Aaron Rodgers came in. He had Greg Jennings and Donald Driver.
That's what I meant. Was there any carryover between that last Favre year and the Rodgers?
There was. There was Donald Driver still on that team. Greg Jennings was still on that team. If you look at after that, then Jordy Nelson came along. Randall Cobb came along.
Devontae Adams came along.
Jordan Love had no carryover at all. In fact, his top targets have been rookies this year.
The youngest team going into the playoffs since 1974.
It's crazy.
What's amazing though, the receivers he's relying on, aren't the ones that people thought he'd be relying on.
No, Christian Watson should have been traded for Jonathan Taylor.
Yes. In a minute.
That was a mistake that Goody's going to have to live with. Aaron Jones is back, which is awesome. You have Romeo Doubs, who apparently has the weakest hands because he can't seem to hold on to a damn ball. Like, I remember Antonio Freeman, if it hit him in the hands, he dropped the ball. But if it was in his hands, the ball wasn't leaving his hands. Like, it was his. Once he clasped it, Romeo Doubs seems to have it in his hands and then gets hit and drops the ball. And that needs to stop happening. But you have rookie receivers in Wicks and Reed and then Melton, who I think are going to be your starting three next year and who are going to be your receivers going forward for several years to come as the Packers enjoy their dominance, not only in the NFC North, but in the NFC in general, and multiple Super Bowls, at least one. We get one per.
My big fear, and I'll say it for all the world to hear, my biggest fear is that they're going to go on a run.
Yeah.
And LaFleur is going to look and go, yeah, we're bringing Barry back.
If we win a Super Bowl, you can bring Barry back. That's okay.
No, you can't.
I will give Joe Barry some credit here. Okay? I know Packer fans, but I'm going to give Joe Barry some credit here. He when he decides to blitz and play man, it is a dangerous defense. It is one of the better defenses in the league. It's when he decides to all of a sudden go back to this zone style defense. And last week, he started the game with that zone style defense. And Justin Fields started to get on a run.
He did.
And then he switched. He actually switched.
Okay, was that him or was that LaFleur making the call?
I don't care. We switched back to a blitz mode, man defense mode, and it paid off greatly against a Bears team that was starting to get better, still worse than the Packers. We still own the Bears, which is really, really exciting.
I love that Roger sent Jordan Love a text,
a
tweet.
Go beat the Bears.
Go beat the Bears.
That's their one job. You have to beat the Bears.
Right.
It's like being an Ohio State fan. You have to beat Michigan, which is why Ryan Day needs to be fired. But before we talk about that, let me know I've been right all year. Let me know in the comments below that Jordan Love is a Hall of Fame quarterback already. You might as well give him the gold jacket. And while you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get to enjoy this show as much as we enjoy making it. Michigan gets their first true title that they hold all by themselves since 1950.
They earned it.
And they cheated their way to get there.
They did not cheat.
And Jim Harbaugh did a great job making sure it happened.
He did not cheat. Here's the thing with Harbaugh. You know, you can accuse him of cheating and whatever.
I will.
I know you will because you're an Ohio State homer. He sees these guys rolling up for signing days.
Yeah.
In Bentleys.
Yeah.
And Ferraris.
Right. Not supposed to happen.
Not supposed to happen. And he's sitting there going, and you're looking at me for what? For this little stuff?
The COVID validation stuff? Yeah. So the rule in college football is you're not supposed to give anybody any NIL money until they actually sign with your team.
And yet they can buy a Bentley.
That's clearly not happening. They are getting their paychecks before they sign. Yeah, I mean, it's a broken system. We've been talking about that for a while, and I think Harbaugh's done a really good job navigating a broken system. Listen, Jim Harbaugh, as many jokes as I make about Michigan, the way he developed this team, he's not a big portal guy. He really developed this team from what he had and ended up winning a championship. He made Penix Jr., who I thought should have won the Heisman, and I still do think he should have won the Heisman. He made him look like a freshman quarterback out there.
Penix was hurt, I think, which that's not an excuse. That's just a reality. But
their running back was hurt, and that really put a lot of focus on the passing game.
It did.
They tried to give him the ball, and it just he couldn't cut anymore. He didn't have the same power, and so Michigan just teed off on Penix Jr.
They smothered him. Michigan looked like the powerhouse, and it was a Big Ten preview. I mean, really, in these playoffs, we had the Big Ten versus the SEC.
Correct. I've been saying that forever. It's two SEC schools and two Big Ten schools, which you're going to continue to see, which is why the SEC is going to, or the ACC, I'm sorry, is going to break up because you're going to have three conferences. I've been saying it forever, and it's starting to come true with Florida State suing because Clemson's just sitting back, North Carolina's just sitting back. They're really letting Florida State take the charge, and you are going to see the three of them plus another school leave the ACC, which will lead to a giant exodus into one of these three conferences,
right?
Which is the Big Ten, the Big 12, and the SEC.
Harbaugh last night said that he can now sit at the adult table
You can.
family dinners because he's finally won something, a national
Right.
title. But where does he go from here? I don't see him going back to Michigan.
I think he's being forced out. I think there's going to be a conversation that says, listen, we're not going to have any sanctions on Michigan for this. We're going to leave it alone, but you have to leave.
So if you're Harbaugh, which are your best options for an NFL job?
Well, you could stay in college.
No,
You could look for another college coaching job.
he's a Michigan guy. He's
He can
not
come
going
coach
anyplace
at
else.
Ohio State all he wants.
Yeah, that's not happening.
I do think he's going to the NFL. So let's dive into these here. So there's 6 openings right now. You have Washington, who just fired their coach. You have the Chargers, who fired their coach earlier. The Raiders, the Titans just fired Vrabel. The Falcons and the Panthers are all open jobs right now.
Okay,
The Bears are not open yet.
not yet, and I don't know if it will be. They may bring him back. The Panthers' job is the absolute worst job in the NFL. I don't want any part
I
of
don't
it.
understand why you wouldn't want to work for an owner that throws beers on fans.
Jeez, I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like they found their new Dan Snyder. It's crazy.
Maybe worse.
I mean, as long as he actually cares about his team in the NFL, the problem with Dan Snyder is he clearly didn't care about the football organization. He just wanted to own a team and just use it as an excuse to print money.
Exactly, and he did. I mean, if I'm Harbaugh, there's 2 jobs I'm looking at. Chargers, which we've talked about on the show before.
Right.
Because you've got Justin Herbert there, got a good team in place, but you've got to go to California and live.
Right.
Not sure he wants to do that again.
He coaches Stanford, though.
He did. I don't know if he
he's
wants
done
to
the
go
California
back.
living.
I get it. I think the more attractive job is actually Washington.
Really?
Ton of cap room.
Yeah.
Number 2 pick.
3 pick.
Okay, 3 pick.
No, 2 pick.
2
I'm
pick,
sorry.
yeah,
You're right.
thank you.
2 pick. Sorry. I thought the Patriots were 2, but the Patriots are 3. You're right. I'm wrong.
So I think he can go in there, get a quarterback that he can work with, and put some things together.
Depends what he thinks on Sam Howell. So the issue with the Chargers is you have Justin Herbert, but you don't have a good team other than that. They are about to be almost $100 million over cap in I want to say San Diego, but it's not, with the Chargers. I can't say LA because that makes you think of the Rams. But they're about almost $100 million over in cap right now. So they're going to have to really restructure and release a lot of players. I said that this year, or in the beginning of the year, if you remember. This is their last chance. They have a ton of aging stars with bad contracts. If they don't win this year, they're going to have to fully rebuild. And that's exactly what they're about to have to do. So if you're Harbaugh, you're going in with a great quarterback that hasn't done much. It's very much of a Phillip Rivers type right now.
Right now.
Where it's like really, really good, but never gets you anywhere. And
Harbaugh
you're going to have to completely rebuild that team.
But Harbaugh has a way of taking existing talent and making it good. I mean, Michigan was buried when he got there, and they got him 10 wins.
I know, but the Chargers don't have
it.
young existing talent. That defense is a mess. The offense is about, you're going to lose both your receivers. You don't have a choice. You're going to lose your starting linebacker in Khalil Mack because you can't afford him either. You gave Herbert this big contract that already needs to be restructured, it seems like. This is turning into a nightmare for the Chargers, and whichever coach is going to go in there is going to have to completely rebuild what they already have. And I don't know if Jim Harbaugh is going to want to do that.
I don't know. He's going to have his pick. I know the Raiders really want him.
The Raiders are going after him hard. I wouldn't go to the Raiders if you paid me enough. I mean, the problem is the John Gruden thing is happening this week. In the next 2 weeks at least. You're going to hear what John Gruden actually has to say. It's going to be in court. Everything's going to be released. Do you want to be anywhere near the Raiders if that's going on? And the question is do you want to be anywhere near Washington while that's going on? The only benefit that they have is Dan Snyder's no longer there. It's not their problem with the new regime.
True. It could be a nightmare for the NFL. I still think this gets settled.
No, John Gruden's refusing to settle.
I know.
Like, you went after me, I'm going after you. John Gruden still had the $100 million that the Raiders have to pay him.
He's on a vendetta. I get that.
So nothing's being settled.
I don't know.
This is all going to come out, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere near the Raiders while that happens. If you look at the Titans, that's not a good job. That has to be a rebuilding situation completely. The Panthers, I agree, I wouldn't touch. Another question is, do you want to be in the AFC when your brother's in the AFC?
I don't think he does.
I don't either. The Falcons is a very, interesting job, and to me is a dark horse where Jim Harbaugh could go. Now, I think another head coach is going to the Falcons, honestly. But if you're Jim Harbaugh, especially if the Bears are done with Justin Fields, there is a lot of good talent on that team, especially on the offense.
You
have
put
Drake
Justin,
London, you have Bijan Robinson. If the Bears are done with Justin Fields,
you put him on that team, it's a different ballgame.
it's a good team, especially. I mean, you look what he did with Kaepernick in San Francisco. He could do more than that with Justin Fields because Justin Fields is a better player.
Right. And Harbaugh's an offensive-minded coach. He's a quarterback guru.
Correct.
He knows the position as well as anybody.
Free agents want to go to Atlanta.
Sure.
Atlanta's a nice city.
It is.
So that is a big dark horse because that is a dangerous team with the right quarterback and the right coach. Now, honestly, I think Eric Bieniemy is going to Atlanta. I really do. And I do think Justin Fields, if the Bears are stupid, is going to wind up in Atlanta. And that's going to make them a dangerous team for a long time to come.
And then there's Belichick, who hasn't left yet, says he's not going to, but there's still rumors swirling around that he may be taking one of these other jobs.
At some point, you got to walk away. You know, in the NFL, you do. At some point, your message gets stale. The issue is in New England as well is the what am I trying to say here? The message has gotten stale. I can't think today all of a sudden. I just lost my complete train of thought. You have with the Patriots, you have another bad organization. That's what I was going to say. You really have a team that looks a lot like it did when Robert Kraft first bought the team.
The organization has to be overhauled.
It does.
Belichick hasn't kept up with the times. Still a great coach.
They went all in Brady's last year. I mean, that's just it. You are seeing what happens when you go all in for a quarterback in the last years. This is why the Packers didn't want to do it. They didn't want to see what's happening to the Patriots right now.
True. And the other head coach that I think might be in the mix, I could see Mike Tomlin just stepping away from the Steelers going, I've had a great run, but it's time for both of us to get a different look.
He's never had a losing season in Pittsburgh, and he just found a quarterback in Mason Rudolph that seems to all of a sudden have found something magical.
Maybe.
The Steelers are all of a sudden a very dangerous team, and we're going to do our picks here in a minute, I know, but the Steelers could make a run with the way in the same way the way Joe Flacco's been playing. Mason Rudolph is having that same resurgence. Like, I don't even think you call it a resurgence. He never had a surgence.
No, he didn't. But he found something. Kenny Pickett, I think, has played his last snap.
You can't go with Whopper Jr. hands. You just can't.
No.
You could blame the offensive coordinator as much as you want, but when Mason Rudolph goes in there with a new offensive coordinator and starts lighting it up in ways Kenny Pickett just isn't capable of doing, when all of a sudden George Pickens is having a 140-yard game, which I expected him to do most of this season because he's that kind of receiver, and you had a quarterback under center that couldn't get him the ball. I mean, you can't move on with Kenny Pickett. If you move with Kenny Pickett, then you guys get what you deserve. You reap what you sow. It was a bad pick. Move on.
I still think I could see Tomlin going someplace else. I don't know where.
I don't know.
But I could see it happening. He's been a great coach.
Tomlin in Atlanta would also be a very wise decision.
It'd be bad for Justin Fields.
Maybe.
I mean, he's a defensive-minded coach. Granted, he worked with Ben Roethlisberger, and he found a way to win with him.
Right.
I want to see Fields thrive, and if you put a Jim Harbaugh with him, I think he's going to turn his career around.
I think so, too. I think that'd be a great match, which is why I see Jim Harbaugh still going to the Bears, and I don't think the Bears are going to fire Eberflus unless they're getting Jim Harbaugh.
And they're going after him.
They are. Everybody is. I hope the Packers are, too. They're not. And I don't think he'd ever go there.
No.
For the same reason he wouldn't go to Ohio State. I don't think he'll go to Green Bay. Well, it does make an interesting setup because I think Eberflus has earned another chance at a head coaching job at this point. I really do.
He has. I mean, the one thing today that surprised me was Vrabel being fired by Tennessee.
Yeah, but there was rumblings coming through that he didn't want to be there anymore.
He didn't.
I think that's more of a mutual step away. And stepping away.
Make no mistake. He was fired so he could get his contract paid out.
Correct.
He wasn't going to just resign.
No, he wasn't. But there was a mutual parting.
We'll see where he ends up. I do not want to hear the Ohio State homers.
Coming to Ohio State.
No, he's not.
He is. You need to have him at Ohio State, and I want to talk to you about that in just a second. Hold that thought. Hold on tight, because I'm about to have another rant here about why Vrabel needs to go to Ohio State. But I want to ask you a question, because we've been talking about all the coaches' openings,
Sure.
right? So I wanted to see if you knew who the most tenured head coaches are in the NFL, and I wanted to do a little top 10 list here. So, can you name the number 10 coach, most tenured coach in the NFL?
Number 10. Good Lord. Kyle Shanahan.
No, it is tied Zach Taylor and Matt LaFleur at 5 years apiece. So 5 years is the benchmark. Can you name number 8? Technically number 6, because there's 3 tied at 7 years. You said
Andy
one
Reid?
of them.
I did?
Yep.
Kyle Shanahan?
Kyle Shanahan. Who are the other 2 coaches that are tied with for 10 years?
Andy Reid?
Nope.
No idea. Who am I missing?
Sean McVay at 7 years with the Rams.
Yeah.
Sean McDermott with the Buffalo Bills. He has also been there for 7
Been there
years.
that long?
He has. Number 5 on this list. I am shocked at how long some of these coaches have been there, honestly.
Well, now we're getting into Andy Reid territory.
Andy Reid has been with the Kansas City Chiefs for 11 years.
That boggles the mind.
He started in 2013. That's crazy to me. All right, number 4. Another one where I can't believe he's been there that long.
I know the first 3 are Belichick, Tomlin, and
Yeah, but we're on number 4.
I know John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh. Oh, can't be, but I think it is. Pete Carroll.
Is Pete Carroll. He has been in Seattle for 14 years.
How long's Harbaugh been in Baltimore?
Harbaugh is number 3. He's been in Baltimore for 16 years. Wow. Started in 2008. The year I graduated high school is when John Harbaugh started with the Baltimore Ravens. That is just crazy to me and makes me sad a little.
And you know what each of those organizations have? And I know New England's in some trouble right now, but they've been good organizations for a long time.
They have been, but you haven't named number 2 or number 1. I mean, you have.
Belichick and Tomlin.
Okay, who's been there the longest?
Belichick.
Belichick has. Mike Tomlin, you know how long he's been in Pittsburgh?
Power left 2003 or 4?
No, 2007. He's been there
Okay.
17 years. Bill Belichick has been there since the year 2000.
Damn.
He has been there 24 years, is the longest tenured coach in the NFL, currently serving in the position.
Speaking of cheaters,
You can't say that Bill Belichick is a cheater
sure I can.
and not talk about Jim Harbaugh, who did the exact same thing.
Big difference.
There is not at
Large
all.
difference.
0.
Okay.
I just thought that'd be a fun list, but let's go on to, before we move on to the next topic here.
Yeah.
Ohio State's got a new head coach.
They did not get a new head coach.
Vrabel is going to be Ohio State's next head coach, and that needs to happen.
No,
That needs to happen.
Ryan Day has done a great job.
He's done a good job. You know what great is in Ohio State?
Beating Michigan.
You know what else is great in Ohio State? National championships. This isn't Wisconsin, where if you win a Chick-fil-A bowl, it's a good season.
Yeah, no.
This,
That's not a good season, actually.
this is the Ohio State University. Ohio State wins national championships.
Apparently not.
We haven't, and that's a problem. No, but if you look throughout history, anytime somebody's lost to Michigan 3 years in a row, they're gone. They are
Sure.
gone. Ryan Day would be the first coach we've had that has lost to Michigan 3 years in a row and kept his job.
Good.
And don't start with me. Listen, I'm off the Luke Fickell train. He's clearly not going anywhere. He's built a good program in Wisconsin already and has a lot coming to town. But Mike Vrabel being fired and coming to Ohio State makes perfect sense because this is Ryan Day's fault. This is all Ryan Day's fault. We should have had Clint Ewers as our quarterback this year, but he couldn't keep him on the roster. If you look at when we had Dwayne Haskins when our team started to fall apart, and this was Urban Meyer's fault, but Ryan Day was on the staff, so I'm going to blame him anyway. We had Joe Burrow there.
Joe Burrow decided he saw what Ohio State really was and said, I'm out of here. I don't want any part of this. And he went to LSU and won a national
That's
championship.
not what happened.
That's
Urban Meyer
exactly what
said, we're
happened.
going with Haskins, and he made his choice to go to LSU. Don't start with me on that one. But
True.
he hasn't won a national championship. He's been in the playoffs and had a good chance to beat Georgia, and I think would have won the national championship last year with C.J. Stroud if it wasn't for a missed field goal, and that would have changed everything. But you can't lose to Michigan 3 years in a row. If you bring in Mike Vrabel, the recruits are still going to come. It becomes a very defensive-minded football team, which is great, and you can bring in some more quarterbacks to just run that team.
I think Vrabel, in some way, shape, or form, is destined for New England.
I could see that.
They just put him in their ring of honor.
Yep.
It just seems like things are in motion there.
They are, but he's going to have a brief stop while New England rebuilds. He's going to have a brief stop as the coach of The Ohio State University. That's going to happen. Ryan Day's 53-8 as Ohio State's quarterback. That's awesome.
Head coach.
What did I say?
Quarterback.
Oops. Ryan Day. I'm not talking well today. Can you tell we've taken 2 weeks off from this? 1 week off.
1 week
It's
off.
been 2 whole weeks since we've done a show.
Yeah.
Either way, if you look at what Ryan Day's done, I do think if you are looking at Ohio State, listen, you're there to win championships. And he deserves another chance, and I'm excited for him next year with the quarterback he has brought in from Kansas State this year. He's brought in the number 1 running back in the SEC last year, coming from Ole Miss, who's going to be the Ohio State University running back this year. And so he's clearly getting another chance. But you're not going to hear any Ohio State crying if Mike Vrabel's the head coach next year.
No, because you guys are just
Champions
arrogant,
or champions. I mean,
pathetic.
we expect to win. You can't say that when we're Packer fans, okay? We expect to
Of course
win
it-
every single year with the Packers, and
It's
if
a
we're not
difference.
winning Super Bowls, we expect a change to be made.
It's a
It's the
difference.
same concept
No.
with Ohio State.
No, it's not. Ohio State is a bunch of low-life thugs.
This isn't me cheering for the Chicago Cubs where I just expect to lose. Like,
There's that.
I have 2 teams where I expect them to win every single year. And you know what Ohio State needs to, honestly? All they need is love. That's all anybody
Would
needs.
you
all,
stop with that
all
already?
you need
Okay,
is
so
love.
our last show, we did our picks. We both finished 3-2.
We
I'm
did,
looking
we
at
did
the
make
show
picks from last week.
I don't remember this.
You wouldn't.
When did I make these picks?
Right after surgery.
Okay.
Right after surgery, we had to get our picks in. It was getting late, and I thought, how fun would this be to see what he will be like making picks when he's high as a kite on anesthesia? And I was right. I didn't film it for your own privacy.
Thank you
I
for
was
that.
very nice. But I wish I could have, because it was funny, because you were pissed at me.
It was.
You were not happy making picks at that time.
I probably
You
wasn't.
said, leave me the F alone several times. And I was like, we have to make picks, Dad. We have a show in 2 hours. We have to make our picks. You're like, I'm not making a show in goddamn 2 hours. I said, we have to make our picks. You have to find, what are they? And so we made our picks.
Okay. How do we do?
I mean, bad. We didn't do great. You were surprisingly cognizant on making the picks. They were one-word answers, but they were stern and direct on who you wanted. We had last week's picks, Texans versus Colts. You and I both took the Texans, which is a win on that one. Steelers versus Ravens. You picked the Ravens. I told you several times
I
the
know.
Ravens aren't starting anybody, and you said the Ravens are going to win. I picked the Steelers and got that one right. Bills versus Dolphins. You picked the Dolphins. I picked the Bills.
They had something to
Bills
play
win.
for,
They did.
and they didn't show up.
They did not. The Bills are starting to look good. They're getting
They are.
hot all of a sudden.
Well, they're letting Josh Allen be Josh Allen.
They are. New offensive coordinator was the smartest thing McDermott has done. We had Jaguars versus Titans. We both picked the Jags and got that wrong. Bears versus Packers. You and I both picked the Green Bay Packers to win. I got 1 wrong, and you got 3 wrong. I was 4-1.
It's the first losing week I
You
think
were
I've
2 and
had.
3. I think so. It's one of the few winning weeks I have had.
Well,
It's
congratulations.
exciting. The one I don't actually have on camera for the week before, I actually go 4-1. But we do have the NFL playoffs going on right now.
It's going to be a fun weekend.
There's a lot of good games. I'm really excited for a lot of these. I actually made the first pick on this one for the order that we're in. We got 6 games we're picking today. Starting off with the Browns at the Texans.
I'm going to ride C.J. Stroud. They've looked so good. I mean, Flacco has played great for the Browns. I just think Houston's going to find a way to get it done.
Listen, this is playoff.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco doesn't show up in the regular season. Joe Flacco shows up in the playoffs.
He showed up this regular season.
He did at the end, but he's been in playoff mode this whole end of the season. Joe Flacco in the playoffs, you don't go against at all. As much as I love C.J. Stroud from being from the Ohio State University, there were a lot of injuries last week that they're going to have to deal with. A lot of people coming back. Nico Collins looked great. C.J. Stroud looked amazing in that win. But I think that the experience of Joe Flacco is what's going to win this game, and the Browns are going to walk away with it this time.
Okay. Next game up, and I usually go with the better quarterback with my picks, but Steelers at the Bills.
It's going to be a surprisingly good game.
Good.
The Bills are getting hot at the right time. I didn't think the Bills were going to make the playoffs. They ended up making the playoffs, not only making the playoffs, but being the number 2 seed with the last one of the season. But they made it in.
They did.
They made it in.
TJ Watt may not be playing.
He is not playing. He is officially ruled out. And that is where I think the difference is going to be. If TJ Watt was playing, I would ride with the hot hand of Mason Rudolph and go with the Steelers here. But with TJ Watt being out, I think Josh Allen's going to run up and down that field, and I'm taking the Buffalo Bills.
I feel the same way. I think Josh Allen's just coming into his own right now. They're the hot team. Bills are going to win.
All right, the next one on the list. This is where the script writers of the NFL came to play.
Yes, they did.
This is where, if you believe the NFL is rigged, this storyline is there to prove it for you. The Rams and Matthew Stafford coming back to Detroit for the first time in the playoffs. The Lions looking for their first playoff win since 1992.
And they're not going to get it.
Really?
Matt Stafford's going to come in. He's been playing really, really good quarterback. You got Kupp there. Their defense is going to step up. The Rams have been...
Set the rookie record.
Yeah. And the Rams have just been playing... They're the team this year that's played way above where everybody thought they would be.
In the second half of the season.
And I
Those are
think
the two teams that really took off at the second half of the season. It's the Bills and the Rams.
And I think the Rams are going to go in there, and I think they're going to win easily.
Really? Come on, man. The Lions have been a team of destiny.
Did you see how they coached that last game? They lost how many players in that game?
Laporta's not coming back, most likely. Their
Right.
tight end, their rookie tight end. That is a huge loss. for
Huge.
them.
Dan Campbell.
St. Brown's going to be okay. He's going to be there. He has a lot to prove. They have Gardner Johnson back, and he played great the last 2 weeks in the secondary.
I lost faith in Dan Campbell at the end of the Cowboy game. And he did it again last Sunday where his ego overwhelmed his common sense.
This is a big game for him. This is the biggest game of his career. The entire pride of Michigan is riding on Dan Campbell, and I didn't mean to make the pride Lion joke, but now that I did, I'm going to point it out because that's clever. So the entire pride of Michigan, just to point it out again, that was pretty good, is riding on Dan Campbell's shoulder, and the question is he going to be able to handle it? I mean, if you're talking coaching in this one, Sean McVay has the advantage.
Absolutely.
If you're talking about quarterback, a healthy Matthew Stafford definitely has the advantage. He's a Hall of Famer. Jared Goff is not the Hall of Famer right now. But the Lions are the team of destiny, man. I can't pick against the Lions. I'm going to be rooting for the Lions to win this one. I got to go with the Lions on sheer gut here that they're going to win their first playoff game in what?
30 years.
30 years? 32 years?
No, you said 1992. Oh, 2, yeah.
32 years. They got to make it happen. They really do.
Okay. Next up, Dolphins at the Chiefs.
Dolphins going to win this one. I've been saying forever Lightning doesn't run on ice, and I think that's true. And I think it's going to hurt them not having that home field advantage going throughout the playoffs here. But they played like crap in Miami. I don't think it really makes a difference. This is Tyreek Hill going back to Kansas City and has a lot to prove on why they shouldn't have gotten rid of him. The Chiefs are on a downward trek here, and the receivers are a big reason for it. I think they're going to shut down Travis Kelce, who Taylor Swift will break up with after the game so she can write her next hit song. And then I don't have to deal with her being on TV anymore, which will be really nice. And Tyreek Hill's going to put up 200 receiving yards. It is going to be a lights-out performance by the Dolphins, and they're going to walk away.
Chiefs are going to win in a very cold weather game. I trust Andy Reid way more in this situation than I do McDaniels. The Chiefs by 10.
If you're looking at cold weather game, though, you're looking at the better running back. The Dolphins also win in that category. I mean, they have the better talent all the way around.
Warm weather teams do not do well in the cold, typically.
We'll see. I think it's going to be a Dolphins win on this one. The next game up, Eagles at the Buccaneers.
It's going wrong in Philadelphia.
They are 1-5 in their last
They
6
limped
games.
it.
Haven't looked good.
No, they limped in.
They started 10-1. AJ Brown is hurt. Don't know if he's playing this weekend or not.
Look, I'm going to take the Eagles just because I think pride is going to will them over the line on this one, and I don't think the Bucs are a very good team.
Can't use a pride joke. That's for Lions.
They're playing for pride, not it's in pride of Lions.
Just saying. It was better when I said it.
I'm going with the Eagles.
Playing for
They
the
will
nest.
soar out of Tampa.
There you go. That was a good one. I knew you could do it. It's going to be an interesting game. Baker Mayfield's been... What did I say at the beginning of the year? Later on, we're going to do a where we were right and where we were wrong. And one of the things I said is Baker Mayfield's going to be a Pro Bowler this year. Now, he didn't make a Pro Bowl, but he looked like a Pro Bowl for most of the season.
He had a good year.
It is in Tampa, which means there's going to be a lot of Eagles fans there.
As there always is in Tampa.
There always is. Mike Evans has quietly been a top 3 receiver in the NFL this year. Their running game has been solid. It really depends on their defense here, which is surprising because Todd Bowles is a defensive-minded coach. I just think that the Eagles have taken a nosedive. I really think that the Buccaneers are going to win this one.
We're disagreeing a lot.
We have had one agreement.
Last but not least, the Jordan Love-led Green Bay Packers against the Mike McCarthy-led Dallas Cowboys.
All you need is love. All you need is love. Hold on. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. This has been the coming out party for Jordan Love this year. The Packers have not lost to the Cowboys in the playoffs in over 10 years.
Cowboys have not lost at home all year.
Great. Sounds good. Again, the script writers are clearly out. It is Mike McCarthy versus his old team. The Packers are winning this one, baby. I won't pick against the Packers. You know that. I won't pick against them. But if you really look at this, the Packers are hot right now. They have as long as Christian Watson remains hurt and isn't on the field dropping balls and Romeo Doubs isn't there either, Packers have a solid chance. Aaron Jones is back and is proving he still has it and on a mission to get that next contract. He's coming back to Green Bay next year. He's earned that contract yet again.
Yes.
As long as Joe Barry blitzes all day long and doesn't play that zone crap, because CeeDee Lamb will eat them alive.
If they play zone, it's going to be worse than Justin Jefferson going off on us.
If Joe Barry plays zone, then the Cowboys are going to win 41-3. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. But he's not, and the Packers are going to win this one in a high-scoring.
It better be a high-scoring game. I can't bet against Dallas at home with McCarthy. Hey, look, based on my picks this year, I'm helping the Packers.
That's true.
I want the Packers to win desperately, but I think this is the year before they actually can make a run in the playoffs. It's Jordan Love's first playoff experience.
House money right now, though.
I know, and they're going to play that way.
This has been a great season either way.
Yep, it has, and it's going to be great for these rookie receivers to learn. I think a couple of them are going to have big games.
Yep.
Melton,
Jaden Reed.
Yeah, Wick, and Reed. I think all of them, and I think Musgrave will probably have a big game.
I think Tyler Kraft will have the biggest game.
Okay, I'll take it. but I do.
You got your boy Ferguson from Wisconsin over there too in Dallas.
He stepped up. He's been one of their
Had a
big
good season.
weapons. I just think in the end, Dallas is going to lose this one at home.
It could happen. I refuse to pick against the Packers either way, just out of principle, but I really think that the Packers have a really good shot at winning this game. And then we play San Francisco. That's our reward. I'm not as confident playing the 49ers ever because they have owned the Packers in the last 10 years. But it should be an interesting game. I am very excited to watch. I didn't think I'd be this excited about this season in Green Bay, and I am. And all you need is love.
Thank you.
But we have had a great show, but we cannot end it as you know, because you cannot have a conversation with your father without your dad getting the last word. So it is all you.
So let's look back a little bit. We started this show 2 years ago that we're going. Today marks our third year. We started with basically nothing. By the end of last year, we were over 92,000 subscribers. Thank you all for the support and continuing to be there. We've grown a lot through these 3 years. I think our relationship has gotten nothing but stronger over these 3 years. So use what we've learned to help your own family. Find something to talk about. Find something you connect on. And not every person in a family is the same as the other one. Kyle loves sports. Ryan is a brilliant businessman. Cassie is passionate about her career. But as a parent, I can connect with all three of them because I love them unconditionally. You need to do the same thing with your family, and no matter how bad things get, you can always bring it back because family is the one thing that will always be there and they'll love you unconditionally. So look for that in your families this year. I wish you an outstanding 2024, and I'm hoping we end up 175K by the end of the year.
Hey, I'll take it into 100,000. I just want to have a nice little YouTube button. That would be
We're
really,
close.
really nice.
We're close.
We're close. I guess 10,000 by the end of this year, and you guys have helped us way surpass my expectations. Great last word as always. Thank you as always for watching. This has been Sports Talk with Dad. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.